Hi, I'm Mr. Rowley. In this video, I'm going to explain to you the requirements for the English 3 writing notebook. First of all, what's the point? Most writers, whether they're professional or just doing it for fun, have a place where they store ideas as they come to them. Because the truth is, if you have a really good idea, and even if you think you'll remember it, you probably won't. Because let's face it, we're busy. So the writing notebook is a place to keep track of stuff as it occurs to you and store it for a time when you can actually sit down and draft it out and try it out and see if it'll work. So first of all, use Pages or Google Docs or some word processor that keeps track of your word count. And you want to produce at least 500 words a week. And part of that is to build what we call fluency. And that's the skill of getting the words and ideas in your head into sentences, into a document. And that's a skill in itself. It's important to practice that in and of itself. So generate at least 500 words a week. And if you find that you're really having trouble, ideally you don't even want to worry about that. You want to be producing a ton of writing. You shouldn't even really have to think about that one. So if you're looking at that word count each week and you're nowhere near there, really make it a goal to bump it up and put a little more time in. I'll give you a series of writing prompts in class, and some of those will be related to a topic that we're looking at. Some of them will just be fun, and you'll usually have about 3 or 4 minutes to write. I'll put the prompt up and give you a chance to look at it and get clear, and then you want to write for the whole time. Generate as much as you can. If you're stuck, say, I don't know what to write. I'm writing this because I can't think of what to respond. Or change the prompt. If you don't know what to say or if it's something you don't really care about, just remember, the goal is just to get writing. So put something down. Change the prompt so it works for you. And write for the whole time. Remember, we're practicing fluency here. Then add entries on your own. You want to, as you're doing the laundry, as you're making yourself a sandwich and an idea comes to you, grab that laptop and get it in there. Because again, you'll forget it if you don't get it down. And then spend some time going back through the entries. You'll be surprised what you find in there. Once we've been rolling with this for a while, you'll have some good stuff in there and you'll forget about it unless you go back and reread and then revise. Make them better, and then eventually you'll end up with ideas in there that you can, that will work as drafts. And keep the drafts separate. You'll get credit for drafts separately. Once you realize you've got a drafting idea, start a fresh document and start working on that separately from the writing notebook. In the writing notebook, keep what we call a writing territories or writing topics list. You could also call it a writing to-do list. And those are it's just going to be a list of words or phrases that refer to topics that you think you might like to write about. Now, when you add ideas to that list, it doesn't mean that you have to do it. I'm not going to come over to you and point at you and say, hey, I know this is on your writing topics list. You got to write about this. That's just for you. You should feel like you have a ton of stuff to write about. It should be brimming over with ideas. You probably won't come up with a real long list the first or second sitting in creating your list, but you want to continue to add to that list until you feel like you've got a wealth of topics that you could write about. And it should be ongoing. If you see something on there you want to get rid of, cut it. Think of something new, add it. Keep it live. Be sure that the writing in the writing notebook is yours. Sometimes we can get ideas from reading poems, short stories, song lyrics, newspaper articles, and all sorts of other texts. And it's worth hanging on to some of this stuff in case you want to go back to it. But remember, you're getting credit for generating at least 500 words a week of your own writing. So keep any other source material in a separate document or a separate file. Don't do any copying and pasting in the writing notebook. And then ultimately, go back through it, look for those seed ideas, and draft. And we want to keep a separate document for each quarter. And that'll help you stay organized. It'll help you see how much progress you've made towards that 500 a week goal. And it'll help me give you the right credit for that. So the writing notebook is where it all begins.